Welcome. So, there's been quite some buzzing around Venezuela. The Trump administration has been paying particular attention to Venezuela being particularly aggressive. And one of the reasons being given is the fact that Venezuela has been open to their allies of Russia, Iran, and China. And Trump sees that as a threat. Trump says that he doesn't want their presence to be on this side of the hemisphere. Our military has been getting a stronger and stronger presence in the Caribbean. And meanwhile, so it's reported anyway, activity has been growing in Venezuela precisely from their main allies of Russia, China, and Iran. Just as we have been gifting technology to our allies, such as Ukraine in their struggles with Russia, China, and Venezuela have been, not Venezuela, and Iran have been gifting Venezuela with weapon technology as well. Not just weapons technology, but also to people who are familiar with the weaponry, how to use them, strategists, and so forth. And the question we're going to take a look at now is Trump's war with Venezuela really World War III with Russia and China? And of course, we have other instances of World War III that have been underway. They just haven't been termed World War III. We have Ukraine, that huge gaping wound that is Ukraine. We have the genocide going on in Gaza. As two major hotbeds, and also two have been getting lots of international attention, creating a clear dividing line of what side are you on. So that's a question we're going to be taking a look at. Is Trump's war with Venezuela in actuality just a continuation of World War III with the other global superpowers? I put in the title Russia and China, but Iran is also a major supporter of Venezuela. We can say Russia, China, and Iran. Let's see if my little kitty is going to move. Are you going to move, little Mystic Chow Queen? She's thinking about it. I'm going to go tattooing. She says, I'm going to go tattooing. Hello, how are you? I'm going to go off to this side then, over here. Let's go and take a look. Oh, and thank you for the like. Okay. Is Trump's war with Venezuela in actuality World War III with the other global powers? Four of Wands with Two of Swords. Well, in this energy, it's all about protecting what you already have. I'm going to say not so much growth, but there's a stance, there's a certain sort of temperature that Trump would like to maintain. Maybe too, we could say with Two of Swords and Four of Wands, an image, whether or not it's true or not, an image that at least as long as one blocks out the distractions, as long as one controls the narrative, they themselves can believe, regardless if others do as well. We could say in this energy, part of it could be the so-called American exceptionalism. Part of it could also just be, maintaining a self-image. Also, too, very controlling. These are my boundaries. This is how I'd like to go and see the world. This is how I'd like to set it. Hello. So we'll find out more about Four of Wands. Taking a little look, though, before I do. Bottom of the deck energy, we have Five of Cups, Seven of Swords, Eight of Swords. Who are you fooling with the idea, the veneer that everything is good? In fact, I would say, too, in this energy, projecting everything is good while it is not. Well, everyone's aware of how things are going down. Lots of self-interest here as well. Getting profits where you can, not really caring about how the long-term effects are. Not caring too about the people they disappoint. Going to say too, this war in part is also a distraction for us to pay attention to, so we don't pay attention to the home front and exactly what is disintegrating all around us. Because ultimately, for all the exceptionalism that we say that we have, how many people are being able to, are given the means and support to create exceptionalism in living the way you'd like to live, living in a nice house, marriage, children, vacation, leisure time. Also, too, work in which you enjoy. Hello. Especially when you consider all the people that have continuously been getting laid off. Especially when you consider, too, all the student loan debt, all the car loan debt, the housing debt, and then together with a poor economy, of course, even the employment numbers are cooked. After all, with unemployment, after what, you're on there for 3 months or 6 months, depending, then you're off the system, and those jobs, those people that, regardless if they re-enter the workforce or not, they're no longer counted. Anyway, that's the basis of where we're starting with. But we have Four of Wands. Four of Wands gets a Fool. Wheel of Fortune. Page of Swords. Four of Cups, bottom of the deck energy. If I was to say this in a nutshell, Trump going after Venezuela, I would even say so use such a big term or such a an often spoke about term as World War III. I would say that in this energy, Trump is just into doing movement that no one else has done on a larger scale. Also, too, he wants to create an impact on history. Maybe that's something that all U.S. presidents or also each term of presidency, maybe that's something that they all aspire to do. But in this energy, that's essentially what is fueling the aggression with Venezuela. What can be done in this administration, the Trump's administration? What kind of steps can be made that haven't been made before on the boldest, largest scale? Especially while there's still the platform to do it. How to make the best use of the resources that are at his disposal to make the biggest impact that's ever been done or ever been made. And of course, those are pretty big shoes to fill, especially when we consider even that recent passing of Dick Cheney. Dick Cheney, who kickstarted off the war on terror and perpetrated certain falsehoods that resulted in some pretty gruesome stuff. Also, too, bringing back open torture. So that's some pretty big shoes to go and fill to say that with Trump, his energy is that he wants to create the largest impact that's been done to date in history. That's not exactly nice. But let's go and find out more. So the Fool gets the Sun, 10 of Wands, and no, that's not Justice. 7 of Cups. Well, Justice wanted to come out. We'll remember that. We could also say, oh, there's 2 of the cards that I pulled here. Well, if I was to consider Justice along with this, under Fool, this is almost redefining what value is, redefining safety, security, what's deserved and what's earned. What's deserved when you do certain actions? What kind of justice can you yourself create? Also, too, in this energy, it's almost like thinking that there's been he's been magnanimous, other people have been too magnanimous to allow others to thrive when they shouldn't, and that new systems are required. To define those new systems, to have new protocols, new boundaries, new methods adhered to. All of that is a Fool. All of it is very controlling, obviously. I'd also say, too, in this energy of the Sun and Knight of Pentacles, Venezuela has been enjoying a type of success, or we could say the allies of Venezuela China, Russia, Iran, Venezuela, the other countries that are associated with it, they've been enjoying a type of success that US has not been able to go and touch. Maybe that is also the formation of the BRICS economy. But there's been some thriving going on. There's been something set up with the allies of Venezuela in general that also is situated that if left unchecked will be very prosperous for the group, but it'll be prosperous in a way that the US won't be able to touch or share. And so that's also a reason for stepping in. Whatever power that Venezuela and their allies are amassing and are on track to amass, you could say the Western allies don't want them to achieve it. Wheel of Fortune. Wheel of Fortune, I have 2 of Pentacles. Actually, give me 1 second. I'm just curious about the cards here. Just curious in terms of if there's anything standing out to me about timing. Not so much. There's inferences I could make, but I'm not going to focus on them. Not so much. Anyway, Wheel of Fortune gets 2 of Pentacles, King of Cups, and 4 of Cups. This is all about the long-term goals, long-term plans of both. I would say the US and the Venezuelan camp. I'll just call them that. I would also say, too, that one could say that right now, well, there's a critical juncture. I'm going to say definitely with that 4 of Wands being aspected in terms of the US state with all that really, that energy full of strife. The 7 of Swords, 8 of Swords, and 2 other cards that were rather lousy. I forgot what they were. But the 5 of Cups. The fact that the US really has gone down and it progressively is getting worse. And while our economy and society is degrading, other countries' societies and degrading are rising. I'm not going to say exactly thriving, but they are growing in terms of positivity. And they're not necessarily declining like the US is. And I think that's the main juncture as well that's sparking all this military aggression, is that while the US is declining and other countries are starting to make some serious gains, it's very easy for the power structure to be very obviously flipped into what exactly is a first world country and what exactly is a third world country. Things can get flipped if they're allowed to continue on its current course openly and nakedly for everyone to see. Thank you for the like. With Page of Swords, Page of Swords gets a 9 of Pentacles, Temperance, then Hierophant. Is Trump's war in actuality with Venezuela, in actuality just World War III with Russia and China? going to say Trump's war is against any group that has the means or that is actually improving their economy. Because the U.S. is slipping. And rather than investing military funds, for instance, back into the economy over here, they're much more concerned with making sure the other countries don't get farther ahead. This very interesting energy. It's not about making America solid, but it's almost like having a shell that looks solid, understanding that inside is hollow. For right now, for the US, that's fine. Not to be solid, but to give the appearance of solidity, as they use that appearance to go around and try and gut out, core out other countries that are making substantial gains. Very stifling energy. I almost want to say, I wonder if you looked at the future projections of Venezuela, though. Venezuela has been doing very well for itself in some notable way for long-term growth. And that's precisely what they want to stop, which is why they're coming hard on Venezuela. Maybe it precisely is that support. Maybe they're just not supporting Venezuela with weaponry. Maybe they're also supporting Venezuela with other things that actually make life worth living for its residents, building wealth and sharing wealth in a way that the U.S. is unwilling to do right now for its people. Well, that is my reading here. We could go on with this subject, but for this question, that's what I see. Ultimately, it's to cripple growth. To provide a severe handicap. Thank you for the like. Thank you for your time. Let me know your comments. What do you think? Do you think Trump's war in Venezuela is solely about getting Eastern powers back on the opposite side of the hemisphere? Do you think it's about something more? We know that several places of the globe are already aflame with conflict, so we can't say that World War III is starting. Hasn't started in name, but goodness, it just gets bigger and bigger. One flame starts here, another flame starts there, until soon flames will rise up so much it'll become a fire. But this energy is essentially about stopping progression, stopping growth, and really controlling who gets to thrive both here in the US and abroad. Till next time. Bye-bye.